Welcome back to another episode of Word on the Street.
We are here every week to give you your full entertainment and arts rundown.
I'm Grace Lathrop.
And I'm Hannah Lipsky.
And today we have a very special guest on the show, Eric Leiderman, producer of Late Night with Seth Meyers. Eric, why don't you start by introducing yourself a bit and telling us about your experience so far on campus?
Oh, well, it's been quite a whirlwind. I'm loving the Iowa hospitality. I'm obviously an alumni here from '99, but I come back quite frequently. I come back every few years. I think it's like my 5th or 6th visit since graduation.
Awesome.
It's not enough, but I try. But yeah, producer Late Night with Seth Meyers since the beginning, since 2013. Wow. And man, it's been like, it'll be 12 years in December, which is amazing. But yeah, I'm just gave a nice speech yesterday, and it was really something. It's been a full day yesterday, and now we're on day 2 today. I'm happy to start out the morning with you, and I'm glad I already had coffee from, I want to shout out Encounter Cafe. With our cinnamon roll and coffee. It's making me able to speak, which is super appreciated. So I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Awesome. And you were at KRUI yesterday as well.
Oh yeah, KRUI to end. I'm going to go back today. I'm going back for round 2 today, where I was a DJ intermittently over the years during my time here. So it's, you know, the old KRUI in the house. Sort of expecting to see that, and again I'm like, oh wait, it moved to the IMU, so that was a shock. And we wandered our way through there like we were in Mordor, and we eventually got there, and it was really cool to see it. It's I was really pleased with all the physical media they have, and the passion of everyone who worked in there was cool.
Yeah, it's a great studio. I had never been in before yesterday, but I
really?
was very impressed.
You got lost too.
Yeah, I did. It's very complicated to find, which Kember warned me, but
that's part of the charm, though.
Yeah, it took me a minute, but I got there. Tell us a little bit about your time when you were a student here. What are some of your best memories or things that you were involved in?
I think everyone I've met and all the students I've met, they are all way more involved and engaged than I was with university activities. But I was, I was constantly playing music here, and I really loved my classes. I was not one of those. I rarely missed class. Like I think it's that thing where it's like, oh, I skipped class, and a lot of my, fellow students and friends were like, oh, I can't make this today. I was really uptight about making sure I was like at most, I think I was like a 98% of my classes. That's definitely something like we all like, how many classes did you miss? And we used to like, I'm like, I would be like, I don't miss class like you animals. So I really loved my time here, and I was telling you on the way over, like I took a lot of night classes because I'm not a morning person. As you can look, if you zoom in on my face, you'll see the disdain I have for being awake at 10 a.m. and doing an interview. But I'm happy to be here. But I really enjoyed my classes. I really enjoyed the band scene, of course, like I said. I really worked hard to like promote and like really get my band out there, and I really learned how to do that here, which is like a really valuable skill. I also learned how to debate, and I learned how to like have my opinions, like to not get angry like in class, or to argue properly. That was a big thing. And of course, usual like college stuff, like how do I deal with this roommate? How do I deal with this professor? How do I manage my time? And the university was really accommodating and flexible to all those things for being such a big school. I think they sold the university, I remember, like, it's a big campus. There's a lot of undergrads. What is it, like 20,000 undergrad or something like that?
I think it's up to 30 now.
Yeah,
is it really?
I think it's a bit more.
The last class we had was like the biggest class they've ever had. Like every year keeps getting bigger.
Yeah.
30, yeah, I think it was 20,000 undergrad and 10,000 grad students when I was here. But I never felt that the university was too big. Resource-wise, class-wise, all your intro classes are usually pretty big. But some of my professors in my big lecture classes, like I had good relationships with, and everyone was accessible. That's like my biggest takeaway when I tell people about if they want to send their kids here. Because it's funny, all of my friends and colleagues, like from like my youth, they all have kids now who are going to college. I don't have kids. And my friend Simon brought his daughter here randomly when I just arrived. And we were talking about like the school, and I was like, oh, you have a kid who's going to college. I'm like, okay, cool. That's weird. But it's crazy. But seeing her sort of absorb the university was really cool. Yeah. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. It really was like the dynamics, like with my teachers, was the thing I take away the most of. I really learned a lot about life, and I was able to like, it wasn't just about like my test taking or this thing. I was really engaged in like proper dialogue and debate with my fellow students and with all my teachers. And that access really helped if I ever ran into issues or had like an amazing excuse of why something wasn't on time, which is like my MO. So that was my first producing. Like, why I'm like, listen, I'd love to have this paper in on time. Funny story. So it was a lot of that.
Love it. So while you were here, did your band ever get to play at like any of like the bar venues? Like I'm thinking like a Gabe's that's been here for a while. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Gabe's, Gunners is gone. The Q is gone. Gunners is not a bar anymore. It's next to Target. It was like right next to Target.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which is the most, that is the most chef's kiss of everything. It's like, oh, you used to play here? It's a Target now. I'm like, oh my God, wow, that's amazing. So upsetting. But yeah, and then the Q, which is, what did I say the Q was on?
I think that's Brothers now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Brick building and the stairs that go up and there's pool tables in the back and stuff.
Oh, no, that's Koa, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think Vito's used to be Brothers. Or Brothers is now
Yes,
what Vito's was.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
And then Gabe's all the time, like I said, Q, and then trying to think where else. But yeah, I mean, we were regulars there. I mean, Gunners is really like our home, which is like, but that place is wild. That was like that felt like a city club.
Yeah.
Just so, I mean, Gabe's is like legendary and like it was like secure in its image, and that's why it's still here. And I think Gunners is just like a new wild venture. But Gabe's, I just remember like loading and stuff like out those stairs to get up to that second floor.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we're gonna do Gabe's tonight. It's like I just had to like steel myself for getting my hardware box like up the stairs and stuff. But yeah, I mean, really consistently, we really, I mean, for 4 years, I would say like my senior year, I was more settled in a relationship and my band broke up. But I'd say 3.5 years, I was playing out constantly and rehearsing constantly. And that's what I balanced my schoolwork with.
Yeah.
And I was working. I did it all.
That's awesome.
Yeah, much to the chagrin of my parents, but I think I still kept like a BB plus average. Thanks so much. Thank you. Dean's list. You should tell the dean Dean Sanders I had a BB plus average, and still did so much. But DI and that's how like I did all that stuff in high school. But when I got here, I was so focused on getting great at drums, and that was like my side hustle. So I peaked on drums then, probably.
That's awesome. So I know you did a lot of music in college, but how did you know you wanted to get into more of the television side of things?
Because I grew up in a television family, I was like very confident, like that's where I was going to end up. I think a lot of people go to college and try to figure out what am I going to do after college, what's my major. Young people I speak to, they sort of struggle with that. And there's most people like, I don't know. You know, there's always people who know exactly what they want to do. I knew exactly what I want to do because I'm like, oh, I'll just do TV. Because I know how to do it. I have good role models for it. Yeah. My sister's a producer. My dad was, on camera talent, play-by-play for sports before he moved behind the camera and became had his own independent production company. And so to me, I was like, I'm just going to do that. And I think, as I said in my talk, like the idea of like dressing up and going to like a 9-to-5 job scared me deeply. Like I didn't want to be in some sort of corporate. I got to get to the next level, trying to get like a gold watch, in like my 10th year. And I'm like, I was very secure in that. So I wasn't like freaked out about that. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do drums, so I can get out. Like I'll go and I'll work in TV. And that's really exactly what happened. And eventually I want to be a writer who's a showrunner. I just was very relaxed about that stuff. And I don't think my family was relaxed about it. And I think until I got late night, they were like concerned, understandably. But I was always like, why is everyone so concerned? Like I got it, and I have like alternate skill sets, even if they're music, which is like not exactly like, oh, phew, I'm just going to be a drummer. I'm saved. I'm going to live forever, and I'm going to have money forever. That is not the case. But I always felt that I had options, but I was always very confident in my ability to work in the television industry. So.
And how did you get to producing the Seth Meyers show?
I landed at late night through a series of, really from '99 from graduation, when I went right to New York. I was like, I'm gonna make $3,000, and the second I hit $3,000, I'm on a plane, I'm going to New York. And that was like, I think that ended up being like November of '99. And I literally, from that moment, I started at the Daily Show as a production assistant. I had a little detour and worked in education for a minute because I thought I was like maybe I should like save the planet and help the children. And I realized that that's just the exact bureaucracy and sort of difficulty in really doing the aim, which is like to educate. And I was like, oh, I don't have the patience for this. So I went back and went to LA for 12 years, and that just began this freelancing leapfrog of jobs where you just jump from one job to the next. I didn't even think about oh, where's my staff job? Where's my benefits? Where's my security? I just kept doing it. this job ended, and then a few weeks before that job ended, I was starting to like ask around and where are you going next, and can I come with you, and can I at least put my name in? And when I think about it now, it's such a whirlwind. And when I am talking to young people about how to do it, I'm like, oh, this is, you do have to sort of just go for it and not worry about it. And as I think I said yesterday in one of the interviews, I remember I met a young person who wouldn't take a great entry level job because her parents said like, oh, there's not good benefits. And I was like, oh, you need to get out of this business like right away. If you're a young, healthy person and you're lucky enough to be that way, you can't worry about that stuff. You just have to keep taking the gigs and struggle a little bit. And I don't really think I had consistent stability and money until I did late night. And I was 37 when I got that job. And some people have it differently, you know, like, and they find something they don't want to leave. And there's a lot of young people at the show who are just like, oh, I'm here, but like they might have to jump, you know, to do things. And some people do, and some people love the security, but it was a series of events that just led me there. And I was running Impractical Jokers in New York, heard about late night, and I was told my agent, I'm like, oh, put me in for that number 2 producer job. And I'm like, I'm never gonna get it. And then, yeah, long story short, I did. And I was like, oh my God, and I had to like go back and like, I had all my stuff in LA. I was just like in New York for this job as long as it would last. I was subletting my car, my apartment. I was married at the time. And my ex-wife was living in a different country. Like, it was insane. But you just do it. And eventually like it worked out. So it's a long answer, but it takes a long time. And there's no path that makes any sort of sense. So do not explain this career to your parents. Do not, especially if they aren't in it. And my dad was in it. My mom had to go along with that. You know, she raised us. My mom has a law degree that she didn't really use, but she raised us, and that was like, you know, that was her job, and she was pretty damn good at it. So to me, it's like, okay, she had to go with my dad's freelance life and what's going on. And so I think she just didn't necessarily want that for us because it's tough. It's a tough thing, but yeah, I mean, I lucked out. I'm very grateful for the fact that I landed at this show. I'm very lucky. I am an exception.
So you said you ran Impractical Jokers.
Yes, I did.
That's so cool, number 1. Number 2,
yes.
How is that different, like that type of show where it's like literally just all laughs and pranks and jokes and
Don't say pranks.
Not
Don't
pranks?
say pranks about IJ. They'll get mad, yeah.
Okay, no pranks.
Yeah, there you go.
And like kind of just like clowning around. And like,
clowning around works.
Yes. And like how did you go from that and like running something like that to something like I feel like more structured and like a late night show?
That's a great question. It was a big transition. I ran there was Impractical Jokers. Every show is set up differently. So IJ was set up like I ran the writer's room, and then there was a guy who ran production. So I was like really doing like the writing and vetting the writing and, you know, pitching the guys about like what went through and tweaking pitches and stuff. You know, that I really am split. And I think to be a comedy showrunner, the job at late night is a non-writing producer gig. So, you know, when I got that job, like, hey, it's not writing. I was like, oh, that's fine, because I've done that, and you put your creative ego aside because you realize what a great opportunity is to work at a network and work for Seth. And my boss, my showrunner, is excellent. Like, these are good people, and a lot of people, you know, it's like, I have to write. I'm an artist, and it's like, I'm just not that person. I can do both, and I lean more towards the producerial side, and I think I'm better at that. At the end of the day, I can make people's initial ideas better, and I can see them and I have ways to tweak them for the comedy and for the actual production. So it was a big transition, and yeah, but also I had benefits, I had schedule, I had, you know, paid dark weeks, like I was really being taken care of, as opposed to IJ, where not that they didn't take care of me, but they're just not set up. It's more of a run and gun production, which is what I was used to when I worked at numerous MTV pilots, things like that weren't like on my resume, like that I don't even, because they're all so small, but like they kept me going for a few weeks here and there. So there's like probably 15 or 20 jobs that were not on my credits that kept inching me closer and closer to that timing of getting late night. But look, I could have not gotten the job. And then I would have been back to square one, and it's like, hey, am I still gonna be like sitting on my buddy's couch at 37 as a showrunner while someone's renting my apartment in LA? Like, you have to think about these things, because when the opportunity comes though, you can't be like, well, it's like, nope, how are you gonna, you're gonna take it, and how are you gonna like produce your own logistics to be able to take it and make it work?
kind of crazy
Yeah.
to think about.
Yeah.
Don't
is.
think about it now. Say this, put this in like your time capsule, watch it later, or just commit some of it to memory, and just remember when the opportunity comes, you just take it and you figure it out.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
like that
For
a lot.
sure.
'Cause
Unless you are like, some people don't have financial support. Anyone who's in school and has, supportive parents, you are lucky. You know what I mean, to have those things. And I was lucky enough to have some of those things, but I never put them in a position after college where they had to worry about me financially. Like, I'm like, whatever it is, I'll figure it out, because they gave me, they set me up for success.
Yeah.
And then it was up to me to screw it up or not. And I did not. As of today, I did not. There's still time.
Yeah, it's definitely scary for us. Like, I know we both want to do talent on screen with journalism in some shape or form, and I'm getting ready to graduate, so yeah.
Oh, you're a senior?
Yes, I am.
All
so
the best.
preparing myself to accept that first job, and I recently heard from someone who graduated what he gets paid out of college, and it is a little bit of a scary of how I'm gonna support myself.
You'll be
out
fine.
Of college.
Yeah, you just don't. We're not going to turn this into a therapy session, but I will tell you that that's whatever that money is. That's what it is. Especially if you're talking about, like if you just imagine making that money in like New York or LA.
Right.
And then you can't even. Then you need help, or you're living with 4 other people, 3 or 4 other people. Like, it'll happen. Just whatever it is. If you really are meant to do this and you really want to do this, you'll figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah,
That's
I love
it.
that.
You have to love it. Sorry, I didn't mean you have to. And that's the thing, because if not, then do something else.
Exactly.
I feel like you'll be in perfect shape, Hannah. You're a dedicated,
Hannah, everything's
dedicated
okay.
individual.
I get told that all the time. I'm like, everything's gonna be okay. I'm like, oh, thanks. I just
We'll
needed
do a
that.
group hug when the cameras are off.
That's awesome.
So just taking it back a little bit to like your day-to-day now.
Yeah.
Just walk us through like what your day at NBC looks like. And,
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm up. I hate the mornings, as you know. I've been very clear about that. But I'm sort of, I have to be up earlier now. We just moved outside the city. So I am, I'd say by like 7:30, looking at emails, thinking about the day, and then I get up and start to like motivate. And but there's a lot of, I just sort of look at like the schedule and look at the rundown and think about anything like that, has to happen before the morning meeting, which is at 11, which is, I usually roll in to, I think now with this new schedule, like 10:50, I'm in there and I run the morning meeting. And that's like on Zoom since COVID. We've just always done it. Everyone's in the office, but it gives people flexibility if like they're off site or for whatever reason. But also we have a very small conference room, so it's just like cramming everyone in there is something that's very like pre-COVID. We just don't do it anymore. So we go over the rundown of that day's show and then the following day's show. So since we do 2 shows on Monday, on Thursday we would talk about Thursday's show plus the 2 shows on Monday. So it's about getting ahead of it and rolling through all the elements and anything that's going to happen with the talent, any prop needs, any questions about scripts, and I sort of guide that for all staff. I throw to the segment producers, or if someone chimes in with a wardrobe thing or a prop thing, like I said, anything that's been done in the studio. Another producer is like more of a schedule person and chimes about when things are going to happen and adjusts times accordingly and clarifies script needs as well, like for the comedy pieces. So it's basically just like a big check-in. And I sort of oversee that. And then from there, I get my showrunner writes like out the loose script, anything that Seth says, like in between segments, not like the closer look script or any comedy scripts specifically, but intros, outros, teases, that sort of thing. I proof that. I add any elements, or I reorder things, grammar, spelling, all that stuff. I sometimes change stuff up there, like small things, just to make it flow a little better. So it's like a proofing job, but I mean, I've gotten that down pretty quick. And then we clarify like all the times of like each guest. So I always like try to go in like a little bit under time, so we have a little bit of pad. Things can spread. And so like once I'm on the floor, I adjust accordingly. It's like, oh man, closer look went a little long, or model went long, Seth vamped a little bit. So like we got to take 30 or a minute away from that. And then usually a segment producer looks at me with different expressions, like, oh great, because we don't have as much, or like, oh, how are we going to fit it all in? And I think about that, and then maybe we'll go long, we'll cut later, yada, yada, yada. During the day, I have various meetings, like with ad sales, with my social team, both areas I oversee. And then random meetings too that can pop up like with an advertiser, or just like anything and all things. Like every day is sort of different that way. Ratings meetings I have. a lot of feedback on like our social ratings now, which is like a newer thing, which I've been asking for a while. I'm really excited about that, to look at our ratings and numbers as from linear and social together. So like we're getting towards like a bigger number. So you can actually factor in like how your social media does to the overall success and like viewership of the show. And then we do the show like around 3:45. I put on like the same blazer over like whatever I'm wearing because we have jackets on the floor, and I head down to the green room. I sort of check in and see if there's any last minute stuff that's come up with the guests who are already there, like with their publicists and their people, makeup people, you know, a lot of milling about, a lot of socializing backstage. Then the show starts at 4, and I'm doing the timing, talking to the control room, blah, blah, blah. Show goes to about 5. And then we make sure everything posts correctly and the show's on time. And if there's anything that came up that needs to be cut, Seth wants cut, that the producers want cut, you know, the publicist wants cut. Like the show in general is not like what you see is what you get, but sometimes we're just too over. Or someone says like, you know, Seth might say something incorrectly about like a date, like, oh, the show premieres on Tuesday and it's a Wednesday. So we just cut that, or we have it somewhere else, or we like take when he said Wednesday and put it somewhere else. But Seth is really good about, like, he doesn't need to be edited. You know, the show is what it is. Some shows I've worked on, you know, we go 20, 30 over. And then you have to cut 20, 30 minutes out of the show every day. So then, like, now since we tape at 4, we have more time to deliver. But back in the day when we used to tape at 6:30, pre-pandemic, we had to, like, get the show in. And it was, like, more of a race to that stuff. But since we only, like, you know, we go over a couple minutes at most, it's easier. But I used to work on, like, weekly shows. That would go over like, you know, an hour. So we'd have to deliver the edit the next morning. And the edit was tough. It wasn't just like, oh, cut this part out. Like you're cutting 30 seconds here, 2 minutes here, and you're whittling.
Yeah.
And it takes hours. And then the network would be in there. This show is like very self-sufficient, very well run. And that's a testament to Seth and our showrunner, Mike Shoemaker. And they laid the groundwork for like, hey, we'll do one tomorrow. And everyone is very in tune with each other. So it's a really great staff, and it's the best job and best staff I've ever worked with. I can say that with zero hesitation. So. Yeah.
And I guess like just kind of a follow up with that, like I mean obviously like even here like, oh, how do we like, oh, should this go in this like how do we decide what goes in and what goes out? But on a like obviously much larger scale, how do you decide what's worth keeping in and what might need to go?
Well, if you're talking about like with chat guests and like we're over and we have to find the time, then you find the story that doesn't resonate as much with the audience, that wasn't told as well, that also can be like factually incorrect, like where like someone slipped up. Sometimes, you know, it's like, I gave this example yesterday, it's like someone like reveals something from a movie that shouldn't be revealed. There will be a sequel. This happens in the movie, this is the ending. It's like, oops, and like we have to cut that, then it's easy. But then sometimes it's really difficult, and the segment producer ultimately makes that call, and if the edit works technically, you know, it's their call. But if the director doesn't like the edit, then it's like, can we find something else? But if it has to come out, if it's like Seth wants it out or something like that, or the publicist wants it out and it has to go, then you have to just make the best edit you can. Like sometimes you just gotta work, you can't, you know, there's nothing to do, you have to just take it out. Yeah. But that's rare. I mean, again, the show is shot well, everything is like so, you know, this is not a startup at this point. We've been on the air a long time. And earlier, like we had that stuff, but less. It's very rare now where we have like a real, what are we gonna do? Like I can't even tell you the last time we had something like that. Years maybe. Yeah.
That's really cool. And then you kind of talked about this, but could you explain how you and your team work together to support Seth, and like just how like you guys work kind of as like a machine to get this whole production together?
Well, again, that comes with time, and that comes with understanding what each person is responsible for, and then making systems where the people can thrive and do their job, stay in their lane, but also come over to someone else's lane when it's appropriate. And that just takes time. And there's a lot of kinks the first few years to work out. I've worked on a lot of startups, you know, 1-season shows. By the time you just get the hang of it, it's over and you're not picked up. Pilots. This, you know, again, we understand like how it works with each other at this, you know, at this point, and for years now. So. Yeah.
I mean, even when I got to go and see, it seemed like everything was like so smooth running. Like
good.
All
that
the
was a good day then.
Down there, just like doing their thing, and no one was like. It just like seemed like it worked so well. It was awesome to see firsthand.
It's like a band or anything else. When everyone is firing on all cylinders, you know, it's and the tech works and the gear doesn't let you down, and the people who are visiting understand the assignment, then it's like there's no complaints, and then you feeling that as an audience member means that we're doing our job, and that's great. That's it, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
And for people that want to work in this kind of industry, entertainment, or even just news production, what kind of qualities do you think are top priority that we as college students can start practicing or implementing now?
It's again, like, the big thing I said in my little lecture yesterday was just anticipating the need of what's coming up. That's, if you do that, you'll be successful in everything. You don't want no surprises. And there always will be surprises, but if you've solved a lot of problems and you're good at solving problems and you understand how to do that, then you'll know what to do in the moment. But anything you can do to get ahead of seeing what might go wrong. It's like, oh yeah, that beam up there looks loose. It's like, it won't fall. It's like, just tighten it, dude. Just go out there and get your wrench and tighten it and figure it out so it doesn't fall on your head. And that way it ensures safe passage for everybody. That's the secret. And if you do that, you will keep working and people want to work with you because they're like, oh yeah, we got ahead of that. Good thing. Good thing we took care of that before, because otherwise we would have had a real problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What is it like working with Seth Meyers, and also just like working with someone that has that kind of like name and like, I don't want to say fame, but kind of like fame to him?
For me, I feel like the person steering the ship is in control, and we're in capable hands. I've worked for many pieces of talent before where they are not present, where it's their name. If it's your name on the marquee, okay, it is yours. It doesn't matter about the behind the scenes people. We'll work somewhere else. If you are the talent and your name's on the marquee, it is ultimately up to you to hire the right people to support your vision of whatever the show is. But that's the thing. It's like knowing Seth's career and knowing, I'm like, oh, when they picked him, I was like, oh, that's a good choice. Then when I found out there was a job opening, I'm like, oh, this is where I want to be. Because this guy is, Seth ultimately will tell you, like, his job on SNL was like, as a head writer, was supporting his staff and picking the best stuff and having good taste. And even if you look at him on Update, he was a great foil to all these, like, big three-dimensional out there characters. Seth is the straight man and a really good foil. I mean, anyone who's a good Update anchor is really good at that. I think Seth is the best one. Other, comics before him who did it, Dennis Miller and Colin Quinn, they're great too. I just think Seth embodies like a news person more and looks more like a news person more, but obviously has the warmth to let you know that this is a comedy show. And I think that having that, and you see that if you are a guest on his show, a lot of people do daytime thinking it's like a safe spot. Late night, it's like little like darker, like it's a little edgier. I still think Seth has a warmth that makes it feel that way, but also that it allows the guests to relax. So I want that person driving the ship, and he's been doing it since the beginning, and I'm still there. So obviously he thinks I'm doing it right, and I know he is. So it's nice. I'm again, as I've said before, these jobs don't grow on trees. So very lucky to be there.
And with guests, does he kind of get a say on who he wants on the show, or do you have like a booking team that's like, oh, this person would be great to have on this show? Like, how does that kind of work with your guests?
It's a group effort.
Okay.
It's everyone. We have a whole booking department. Of course, Seth weighs in and whatnot, and that's exactly the answer. It's really a team effort there.
Cool. And I know, like, before the show, you guys are doing your thing and producing and writing everything out. But what does he do? Like, because I know
Writing.
Yeah.
Seth's writing. He is writing and thinking about and meeting with the second producers to talk about the guests that day and being briefed by them. But he's Closer Look is like the thing he is putting. There's a rough draft that comes in through the guy who writes Closer Look, and then after that the head writer and him and our showrunner read it down and add jokes. That's like the bulk of his day. Plus he has like thinking about he's Seth Meyers and stuff. He has other things to do. He has charity events and things he has to be at, and he has a family and it's a lot.
Yeah.
There's always something going on with him.
His Closer Look, like when, I don't know if you've ever
I've watched it, yes.
It's so like well written and structured every single time. Yeah, there's so much in it, but it's quick and it gets through well. And I'm always just so impressed with that. I know Fallon does something like that as well, as little monologue at the beginning, but I really like the Seth Meyers Closer Look because I feel like it's just a little bit, it's just well written, and he delivers it so well.
Yeah, well, he has a monologue like Jimmy does in most late night shows. He has that too. So after he does like his, the 10 to 12 jokes, then he goes into Closer Look, and if it's not Closer Look, there's a comedy piece usually there. So yeah, I mean, like the Closer Look is like the standout of the show. It's like sort of the flagship piece that we do 3 times a week, and but it's filled with jokes. Yeah. So it's just like that in itself, like to make that fly each day and have Seth's take on it after he gets like the bones of it is. It's a lot, but again, it's like a machine, man. Like we just go, and that's not an area that I oversee, but it's just like when you see it every day, you're just like, wow, like okay, here we go. But like again, we've been doing it a long time, so it's just like how long. It's always for me. It's like how long is it? Because how much time will we have to talk to the guests, and you want to make sure that there's a balance there between those 2 segments of the show.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. So, what things has Iowa or Iowa City or your education here, what has it taught you and prepared you for in your professional career?
Well, look, I've said a lot of positive things about UI, and I mean all those things, but I think the takeaway, any good college or any good college experience is about your teachers, and it's really about understanding how to deal with other people. That is the big thing. In high school, I think it's every day you go home and you have to deal with your parents. Then you go with your teachers, and then the idea of like blossoming into like a young adult and dealing like with the socialization part. Managing your time, sure, but your parents are watching you, in theory, how to manage your time. Here, no one is watching you. Really, they aren't. Like you are responsible for yourself. And I think other colleges that my friends went to, I think there was like I sort of noticed that for me, I just felt like there's like too much money there and they were too comfortable, and or there was just like they would go to a school like that didn't offer enough support. And Iowa for me was like it turned out, not that I knew it would be this way, but it turned out to be a nice middle ground of those things. I was comfortable, but it wasn't like overly like I was not coddled. But at the same time, like, I really felt a responsibility to my parents who sent me here, and also to my professors, most of whom I really liked, in speaking of like my communications, my major. So for me, that was a big thing of like, I just respect institutions, and as much as I think I'm like I go against the grain, I'm a rule follower, and I want to please and impress. So, Iowa again struck a balance for me, and I still felt like I was able to do what I wanted. Like if I wanted to see shows, or I wanted to stay up or do my thing or party, you do all these things, and you have to balance all of them and do them in a way that is responsible. And I never thought that I was irresponsible here. And when I was irresponsible here, I remember at a couple instances here, like with the U specifically, nothing crazy, but it was just they put me back on course and wanted me to get through it, as opposed to hold me up and discipline me or wag a finger. I mean, teachers or administration. I had a couple of things where I dropped the ball, and they righted me without enforcing in a way that made me feel small, which is I really appreciate that. Yeah.
I guess just to kind of wrap up, what's one piece of advice or one thing that you would tell people wanting to work in the live entertainment industry?
Everything's sort of contracted since the writer's strike and COVID and inflation. And and streaming, I could point to a million reasons why. And going into this business, and music, the arts, there's all still businesses. It looks cool on the outside, but at the end of the day, so there's part of me who just sometimes wishes I was just I could just enjoy media and enjoy music without knowing all the things I know. Right. It's cool. I know all these musicians, and I was a professional musician. I got to hang and hobnob with all these people behind the scenes, talent, all of them, same with TV. And sometimes I'm I just wish I could be a fan. If you choose to do this for a living, it is a forever roller coaster. There's no security and stability, and no one owes you anything at all. So on a positive note, it's the only thing I could do, and I love doing it. But I just think understanding what it is really essential for young people to grasp.
Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
being on. We really appreciate it.
Oh, sure. You're welcome.
We love hearing from you, and your experiences
Yeah,
are
this is
just
so cool.
incredible. Thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of Word on the Street.
We will be here every week to give you your full entertainment rundown.
I'm Grace Lathrop.
And I'm Hannah Lipsky, and we'll see you next time on Word on the Street.